Welcome back, boys and girls, to Digging Deeper with Mr. Matt. Do you remember in the Bible lesson about Hannah, how she had to learn how to be thankful in sorrow? Well, we're going to talk more about that today, and we're actually going to look back at a little bit at the life of Joseph, which you and I talked about last week. Now, when Joseph was taken away from his family by his brothers because they did that to him. What his brothers did was they went to his father Jacob and they told their father that Joseph had died. And so Jacob, the Bible says, was very sorrowful. In fact, he refused to be comforted. That's what the Bible said. You could not talk him down. He was so filled with sorrow. If you remember how Hannah was praying to the Lord and she was just so moved with sorrow that it almost looked kind of strange from the outside. Well, you could only imagine what poor Jacob went through thinking that his son had died when truly you and I know he didn't. But he went through great sorrow, but in the midst of it, Jacob knew that he could still be thankful. And the reason was because of a covenant or an agreement that God had made with him much earlier in his life. In fact, this covenant or agreement was made first with his grandfather Abraham. And when God spoke to Jacob, the first time Jacob met God, we see in the Bible in Genesis chapter 28, verse 15, God is promising things to Jacob. And he tells him this, "And behold, I am with thee and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest." And what that means is that God will be with Jacob everywhere he goes. And that doesn't just mean whether if he's in one country or another. It also means wherever he is in life, whether if he's in joy and happiness because he has many children, or he's in sorrow like he is now because he believes his son has died. And the joy of that covenant that God has made with them, that agreement, is that even though he is in sorrow mourning his beloved son, God's promises towards him have not changed. God is still with him. He is at peace with God. He's in a relationship with God. And even in the midst of sorrow, as he is grieving, God is still his God. He has not lost God. God has not abandoned him. And he knew how to be thankful in sorrow. And so whether you and I are suffering like Joseph did, or we're in sorrow like Jacob was, we can trust that God will make all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purposes.